So I'm working as an associate consultant at Capgemini, as I've said. We handle large scale clients. I'm just learning with a lot of people with experience, a lot of data engineers, database admin, and so forth. It's been fun. I've made a lot of friends, great people to be around. I took a lot of time off at university. I was not academically great because I'd bummed around a lot. Like I was actually a good student. Like most of my lecturers are like my buddies and we'd have coffee together and chill a lot, and talk about the course content and stuff. But I didn't get any great work experience. I worked part-time roles, I worked locally. So I didn't have like a great sort of portfolio throughout uni. When I got in touch with Mackenzie, basically what happened was I came across Capgemini, and one thing I noticed about them that stood out for me was, unlike most big corporations that I'd come across, they were a company with a great graduate program. Like they had a lot of graduates that were hiring. But the thing that I liked about them was they seemed very humble and very grounded. And they seemed like people you can approach. And I think a lot of grads struggle with this because you get caught up in you'll see somebody with a big title in their LinkedIn profile, like a senior manager, and you're like, oh crap, like how am I going to approach this person? Knows everything, and I don't. I've just done like two little projects. I've done a dodgy, and it's true. You're like a baby at what you know. Even now, like I'm a baby at what I do with the people I work with. But you also, when you work with these people, you realize they're human beings. They're just like you, and they have so many learning gaps to fill out even now because they're human, right? So that's when I looked at Capgemini and I said, okay, they're a company that I could actually talk to these managers. And then I started to, search on LinkedIn. And then I found out who our graduate manager was, who was leading the graduate program. I added as many people as possible from them. And I just shot my shot. And I got rejected to Capgemini twice in the span of like 3 months.
Yeah.
And the third time when I was offered the job, it was a completely out of like left wing. I did not realize that, like, they came out of left field. I had no idea, like, it was a different interaction about something completely else. And the graduate manager's like, I'll get you an interview. I was lost, I can't deny that. I think most graduates feel that way when they're lost. When I finished studying, I think my cousin was saying it takes an average of about 2 years for a graduate to land a full-time role after they finish studying, right? So I was just like, yeah, let's give Mackenzie a shot. He's on LinkedIn. Again, I met you through LinkedIn. Crazy, LinkedIn's great like that. And then I said, yeah, look, Mackenzie seems like a person with experience. He seems to know how to get jobs and stuff and how to approach people, and also to invoke a bit of discipline in me, because there's a bit of accountability that you need. You come to a stage where you've been unemployed and graduated for a while, that you just kind of go, you know what, like, you feel discouraged, like, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm tired of rejections and tailoring my resume, because it's really, I guess, admin kind of stuff, right? Doing 50 quizzes, and then when I met you and I realized, okay, well, I can change this. I can sort of have a different approach. I can probably try and talk to people, and it's also my skill. Probably that's why I've gotten into a consulting role, because I'm good at talking to people, and that's kind of what my strength has been. I can apply that and sort of get work, right? And I can move along. So let's see what he has to say. Let's work with him. So I was really happy. So I was like, I can always like have somebody in my corner if I need, because you need that kind of support. I don't know everybody's situation in that, but the first thing I'd say is those years are like some of the best years of your life. Firstly, right? Like, just I want people to get that into account. Like when you're actually on a student budget and you go out with your friends on a Tuesday night and you do stupid stuff, those are actually some of the greatest. Because so enjoy that as well, because when you start working full time and you start building your career, and maybe you'll eventually start a family, and those things sort of they become great memories. Because a lot of times we get caught up when we're in uni, and we're in this phase that one day I'll get a job and I'll work and I'll do well for myself, and that's great, but it doesn't solve all your problems. New problems come into place just because your financial situation is improved, and you probably have some prestige with the job you do or whatever people value. But some of the most fun I've had is in that time. So take care of yourself personally. No one's journey is the same, but just have the belief. There's going to be bad times, but they teach you a lot. Like, I'm so glad that I didn't know so much, and I'm still learning so much. And sometimes it's going to be difficult. Sometimes there's going to be fear of like disappointing people, and that's very natural. Like, you got to forgive yourself, but keep trying. Keep trying with people. Some of the biggest disappointments will be people that we really look up to, we value. Some of the greatest lessons we'll learn will also come from that same source. And some of these people that you never know will do so much for you when you least expect it. Like in my case, when I was offered the role, when I didn't expect it, I was like disheartened, and I was working in a call center. I was like, I got to build from here. But what I like is when I started working with you, I had accountability. So I said, there's somebody there and I need to consistently try. And we used to do these phone calls. You check up on me and I had to answer to you. So I would be like, I better move my ass and like do something about it, because it's important. So yeah, accountability is good, and just being good to yourself is good, because it's a place where where your self-esteem dips, hard when you don't have a job for like a year, 2 years, and your friends and your peers are like working and you're seeing the grass is green on the other side. But I want people to know that, like, because the situation could be different. Somebody could have serious financial issues with their family, or somebody could have a sick relative. So I don't want to assume that it's the best years of everybody's lives. But I feel like in general, like if the job thing's the problem, then it's okay. It'll solve itself out. Just keep trying, and once you sort of get past the admin stuff, then it's like then it's just repetition of your people skills, and you'll find the right fit somewhere. And no shame in working for a non-prestigious place, because some of the best skills you learn are from a non-prestigious place. I worked at like restaurants in uni, right? I worked for below minimum wage at times, and some of the greatest experience I had with people were them. Like the stories I have to tell are there. Some things I learned from certain people, like some of the chefs that I worked with, they never were chefs before. They they were like they were kitchen hands, or they immigrated here and like they struggled, and then they sort of picked up the skills from a main chef. The main chef left, and crazy stuff like that. I worked in call centers where I've had like OH&S issues. Like I had like a headset that was giving me a rash, and the managers didn't care, and I've had that. But it's also sort of made me stand up for myself at times, made me learn these things. So there's just experience is amazing, like good or bad. In hindsight, it's great. And keep trying, keep trying.